Get ready. Hold tight.
Hold on to your hats, boys.
Libos.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
Just what the flipping Nora are you all lot doing?
I'm still in there. I'm still right behind him.
It was just a very well thought out tactical plan by Danny.
I want to go.
I can literally feel the steam coming out your ears.
So it's like a fun little post-game snack.
The Wednesday Week! Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. If you've not caught this cold, fair play to you, because it's bloody awful. I am currently inhaling half of London as I'm walking through. When you've got breathing apparatus on the front of your face like I have, it's a right song and dance. I need to get myself into Turkey and get some bits taken off, because that's what I do. That's kind of my whole thing. Joining me tonight, I've got Charlie, Stevie, and Europa Cup squad. Terry's joined us this evening. Scup squad. Yeah, that's where I've gone with that. We've had a few illnesses. It's like Sheffield Wednesday the other week when we had that mystery illness. We've got it sweeping through the what does Ash call it? Wednesday Week Towers. Good Lord, there's a lot to get through this evening. We've got two games, and we've got tonight's hot topic talking about the bits inside the media that we've been. Subjected to sounds really harsh, but that we've just found out about. Subjected to just makes it sound negative, doesn't it? Chaz, how was your Christmas? All right, yeah.
Yes, very good, thank you. Nice and cozy. I've lost the festive headgear, but I have retained the festive background, so I feel like I'm vibing it just right for like the in-between bit of Christmas, I think.
Do you know what day it is, and are you full of cheese?
It's Monday because I've been back at work, but yes, I am.
Boo on that. Boo on that.
Boo on that.
As you know, I work in hospitality, and I've had that day where all of a sudden someone's just, like we've been grafting. We're all stood there with just like blood instead of sweat coming out of our entire faces and orifices, and then everybody's returned back to it going, "Oh hi, I've been on annual leave. Can you get this work done? Where have you been? I've had no dishwasher since the 17th of bloody December. Get in the bin coming here." I could go on that all day. Stevie, how was your Christmas? All right, yeah?
Yeah, really good, mate. Managed to make it over to my mum's. Nice little family Christmas. Me, my mum, family, granddad. Drank too much, ate too much, standard. Cheese and tempura prawns. Tempura prawns, remember those? A lot of tempura prawns on the 3-for-2 aisle.
On a Christmas dinner?
No, mate. We had this conversation. Me, you,
Sounds
and
woke.
Ash.
Sounds woke.
Buying unnecessary fridge food that you're never going to eat because you've got too much turkey. You do it anyway. So
I did the trip to Iceland and came back with 8 chicken garlic Kievs, which
why?
I'm really looking forward to, because honestly, when you have like a thing that you genuinely like that you don't normally get to buy, you know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get myself some chicken Kievs. I like them. And then stole a bag of 2.5 kilo chips from work, bashed them in the air fryer, 20 minutes, bit of chicken gravy. Fanny is your Montgomery. Terry, how was your Christmas? All right?
Yeah, not a bad one at all. Quiet, really. Didn't have many people visiting us. We went visiting them, but it's split up over like 3 days, traveling up and down. But yeah, it's nice. A couple of days off. I've been back at work in between though.
Tell you what, I did a record time from that London to Sheffield on Christmas Day. Oh, it's mint driving Christmas Day. It's the best day to go driving. Actually, no, it's crap. Don't get on the motorway. Actually, it's rubbish. What was that?
Did you get any food on the service station, by the way?
There was non-food on the service station. Even Leicester Forest East let me down. Raging about it. They've even got, because like if you've been Leicester Forest East, you've got like this big bridge, right? And it's full of all the food outlets. And I had a couple of beers and I was gasping for a KFC, and I thought it won't let me down. And there was a little fella at the top of the stairs going, "Only shop is open." I'm like, what? No, I want a Subway and a KFC. Ridiculous. What was that from Sharman there, Steve? What was that? I've torn the cartilage.
He's torn the cartilage from his ribs and sternum, so shares your pain. But it's a good job the show won't make him laugh too much. That's because Ash has not done the commentary.
True. There's no content.
I've given it a good go. I've given it a good job. Now, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to get involved, you can get involved in the comments. Steve will be reading out those this evening, and I've been listening to a lot of crap radio, so I'm feeling a bit Adrian Durham tonight. You know what I mean? I'm feeling like I'm just going to be contrary for no reason. I'm going full Andy Goldstein on it. It's full on Simon Jordan, wibble wobble, wibble wobbly. Let's get started on the comments, Stevie. What have we got, bro?
It's just Sharman again, asking if it's true that I've dumped LP2. I'm sure we'll get into that.
He has, yeah.
Tweet that I popped out. I have not. I'm just taking a break. Gary Spooner, I'm sure it's a topic we'll get into later. Forget forwards and midfielders. We need a boatload of defenders in the window. All eyes are average at best. Only Beadle keeps us from relegation. Battle. Like I said, I'm sure we'll get into that. And then friend of the show, John has been on.
Oh, actual John who's on the show.
John who's on the show. One of those existential questions that he comes up with in the group chat. How come you never eat twiglets at any other time of the year?
Right. I'm gonna take umbrage with that, John. Already, that is slanderous because I like a twiglet, but I tell you what, I don't eat for the rest of the year, and I've never seen them called their normal name, but treeslets.
Oh, mate, they are like crack.
Mate, why can't you put them down?
And they're so munchy as well. You know, like, I imagine that's how animals, you know, like horses when they eat, like, horse feed, and it's all the same texture, or just constantly, and they never get bored of it. That's how it feels eating, like, twiglets and cheeselets, just eating, like
horse nose bag.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what that is. That's me in the tub.
Vitty's and or Jacobs, whoever they are missing a trick there. But though they couldn't market that down in London because nose bag means something else. I tell you what. So anyway, ladies and gents, let's get into the football. We've done the old 8 minutes waffle. I think I broke a record with it last week. So Boxing Day came around, and normally it's not a fruitful time for Sheffield Wednesday as Christmas, as it's been the last couple of years. And for the 7,000th time Sheffield Wednesday were away on Boxing Day, that never happens, does it? Ridiculous. And this time I thought I'd make the journey. So because I was up north, I said to Ash, let's go to Middlesbrough. Got on the banter bus, and they're a laugh, aren't they? I can't work out if they are a laugh. Now, Terry, you're an aged man. You're a man of a certain age, certain vintage,
thank you.
right?
Thank you.
Great start.
Terry, you're old.
You're old. Yeah.
Take your old.
I am, to
now,
be fair. I mean, I'll take that.
These away day coaches, I can't work out if they're really good fun or they're just effort. And I was hoping to get your take on them.
I've not been on one for a while.
Is there a reason?
Probably because I'm old. But, my recollections of them buses are there can be an effort getting to the arsehole of nowhere at 8 o'clock for a 7 o'clock at night kickoff. And then by the time the match comes round, you've drank more than a brewery. So it's been a while. But I'm now at that point where I think I'd rather watch the game. So whereas at one point it was when I was on the bus, it was if I watch the game, it's a bonus.
Terry, the reason I asked you this question is that we got on this bus at like 10 to 9 in the morning, right? And as and rather cleverly, they stopped in North Allerton, which is still another 45 minutes away from Borough, right? And we got to this Spoons breakfast, couple of pints. I'm such a lad. Then Terry, and the reason I'm asking you because you're
come on,
you're advanced years.
I'm listening in.
I broke the seal early doors, and I was just wondering if that's a sign of things to come because I was up and down like a pair of kangaroos in the mating season. You know what the toilets are like in a Spoons. They're a 4-day camel ride away, aren't they?
They are, yeah. So the short answer is yes.
Is that why? And that's why you don't use the bus anymore, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I've just seen Liam's comment. I mean, to be fair, I'd be lucky if I got on another bus after the last car journey I had with him. So
Liam's driving's well known for being not legal. But anyway, let's move on.
No, I just say he doesn't hang around.
No,
he's still alive though, so
Yeah, he don't
fart
around the
pool.
pool.
Back the last time I was with him, so
to Hull and back, brilliant. Did you die though? You know what I mean? So It's as simple as that. Let's get on to football. Let's talk about football. Right, Borough, Chaz Beans, what were your perceptions going into this game?
Well, obviously it's my birthday on Boxing Day, as I've only mentioned 420 times. I was worried in a way because our away form has been good. Our Boxing Day form has been and Borough are a decent team, so I was a little bit worried. And my cousin, who tends to be quite a good predictor, who I saw on my birthday, he was like, "Oh, would you a battering?" And I thought, "Oh no," because he's usually pretty on it. He's like Mystic Meg, and I was like,
I
"Oh God,
agree.
no." So I had some trepidation, which is why I think I predicted I can't actually remember what I predicted. I either predicted a usual 2-0 win, which is what I always say, or a 1-1. Some kind of really boring, safe answer. But really, in my head, I was thinking we're going to have our pants down. So, yeah.
Well, at half time,
Yeah.
Bob on. But we'll go back to that. Stevie, this is the lineup here, brother. We've got the lineup of Beadle, Valerie, Otabayo, Iorfa. Otabayo getting a start. Max Lowe, Johnson, Charles, Bannon, Gassama, Windass, and Lowe. Now, on the bench here was Ingleson and Kabatsky. We haven't seen much of them the last few. I say Ingleson might be a bit unkind to, but Kabatsky I've seen nothing of. McNeil on the bench again, thinking this is going to be all right, isn't it? Well, we're clearly struggling at the back there, aren't we?
Yeah, it's not been helpful having Deshaun Bernard not available for the Christmas period, and I thought the game that he got sent off, it was Stoke, wasn't it, when Otigbayo came on at half time?
Mm-hmm.
I thought Otigbayo actually did all right at home.
I wouldn't go as far. He didn't tear up any trees, but he did nothing wrong. He didn't put a foot wrong, which is from a centre back, right? That's kind of what you need, isn't it?
Yeah, that was it. I totally agree with you. And he didn't offend. He didn't make any mistakes. He didn't drop any bollocks or anything like that. He came on. He held the line. And one of the local journals, forgive me, I can't remember which one, put something out saying the best compliment you could pay him is that you didn't notice that he was on the pitch. And as a centre half, that's what you'd want. We played there, me and you, Dan. The last thing I want is people noticing me. Do you know
I want them to hear me. I want them to know I'm there first 5 minutes, and I want them to hear me. But I don't want anybody going, "What's Fudge doing dribbling out of there?" I don't want any of that. You know what I mean?
So from my point of view, him going in there, I had no sort of objections or qualms about him going in. Stoke were the 10 men against 11. It was that sort of situation where, all right, he's done okay. And I think on Boxing Day, he was put in there as part of the system that Danny Rohl wanted to sort of implement, and I had no problem with that. Unfortunately, I'd have to say, I don't think he covered himself in glory in that first half, and it was almost, due respect to the lad, he's young, but he's in there on merit. He needed to come off at half time. But other than that, in terms of lineup, we say it week in, week out, Danny Rohl can pick what he wants at the minute, can't we? We're going to question it, but I had no complaints in terms of the lineup.
Absolutely not. Terry, Stevie there mentioned Otabayo. Kind of involved in their first goal, wasn't he? I'll tell you, I've written it. I'll give you the notes. Conway picks up the ball from a beauty of a through ball. Didn't get the geezer's name. Sent Otabayo and Lowe for a bag of chips, and then Azaz finds Doak unmarked at the back, beans on toast.
Yeah, and Steve said, I was quite happy when he came in because, when you think back to when we played Brentford in the Cup, I thought he played very, very well that night. And as already mentioned in the Stoke game, I thought he came out of it well. And again, I can't disagree with what Stevie said about him not being noticed. But at the end, you think, oh, okay, yeah, he did well. You didn't have to speak about what he'd done wrong. I think that's probably what people were talking about. He didn't do anything wrong, which obviously that's not a bad thing. And I thought he generally started the game quite well. There were a couple of touches at the start where he looked quite confident on the ball. He'd run forward a couple of times, set an attack off, which obviously didn't come to anything. I thought, oh, he's looking okay. And then, as he said, that happened. And then as soon as that ball got played between him and Max Lowe, and it was sort of like there were very little, if any, attempt to stop the cross. And then to compound that, very little attempt to stop the guy who headed it in at the back as well.
There's a weird bit in there where you're there looking at it and you look at the back stick as you follow the ball with your eyes, you look back and go, who's marking him?
Exactly. Exactly. And just to have someone just stood there, what was he? 2 yard out? 2
Yeah.
yard out. And
Easiest goal he'll score.
nobody within 4 yard of him. And you just like, yeah, it just compounded it, the mistake to let them down that side. And it was a good pass between fullback and centre back, if you want to call him that. But then to have nobody stood at the back, it's just criminal.
Chaz, the midfield already was getting holes found out, the Sheffield Wednesday midfield. So 10 minutes later, Neto Borges, hell of a name, sounds like a bullfighter crossed with a shit supermarket, finds the ball completely uncontested in the middle of the park, passes it to Azaz, who had a banging game, didn't he?
Yeah. He was on fire, and he was completely unmarked. I mean, all three of their goals were just shit shows in terms of defending, but it was all the build up as well for him. Like, it was just nothing was going on. And I think the comments that people were putting on social media, like, everybody looks half asleep, they look like they've had a rough night, that was really accurate. Like, there was like, like jogging when they do that, or they turn and they're like, and they just kind of amble back, and it was like that. It was crazy. I think the third goal is the worst goal. That is absolute. Like, everyone just stood waiting.
I think
it didn't go in first time, so we just waited till it did. Like, it's just terrible.
You can find fault with a lot of them, can't you? That all three goals were terrible goals to concede. The first one, I've looked back to sort of see if I've missed anything. Iorfa was literally 20 yards away from their goal line. And he stepped so far forwards that it just meant that the whole shape, formation, and everything else just became so disjointed. The ball that Terry's just talked about, the passing between the right back position and the centre half, actually went through Otagbeo and Max Lowe. Max Lowe was playing central and ended up on the right hand side. So the ball's gone down. Otagbeo on the touchline. In what world do we need our second centre half when the first one's up there on the touchline? So the ball, although it looked like a decent ball, I just thought we'd been pulled out all over the place. The ball's gone into the area. Otagbeo got his feet all over the shot. It's hit him on the arse. He's ended up trying to flick one back. And then the cross has come over, and Marv, are we going to get on to Marv or not later on? It's not a good time for him at the minute, but he was nowhere near anything. And the kid, he didn't have to do anything. He's literally just, surfaced it into the goal, 1-0 down. And after sort of 6-7 minutes, you're thinking, oh, it's early. We've conceded early. And my first thought was, we've conceded early against Derby. And at least we've given ourselves enough time to get back into the game. But I'm not being funny.
Keep having this thing though, where we keep going 1-0 down and 2-0 down. Yeah. I think, and I'm not even worried yet. But a third one, you kind of like,
in like what? 50, was it 15 minutes? Was it whatever it was? Like, however long it was that they'd scored goals in.
Their three was 30 minutes.
30
and then
minutes.
There was 4 major incidents in the second half that all happened within 16, which I'll get to. Terry, let's talk about this third one before we get to half time. So it was like a pinball in the area, wasn't it? And no one's clearing the lines, and it was a Sunday League goal, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, like Charlie said it, that we were just waiting. Oh, well, do you want to have a go? Yeah, okay. Then eventually let him have a go. And it just, I think back a couple of weeks, and it's sort of similar to me in the sense of when Blackburn scored, nobody taking ownership. Nobody taking ownership and just going, do you know what? I don't care about passing out from the back. I don't care what happened. That's our net behind. I'm going to do everything I can to just spanner it into Rohl's head. And it just didn't happen. And they were like, are you going to do it? Am I going to do it? Oh. And so as that goes on, I'll tell you what, I'll have it instead.
Yeah.
And it's just so annoying. Like when we've got players that aren't bad footballers. They're not, let's be honest, they're not bad footballers, but they made themselves look bad footballers. And that's the biggest annoyance I have. They're not bad footballers. We're not in the league position we are because they're terrible footballers. We're in the position we are because they're arguably overplaying. And then to see that half an hour where they're just, could they be asked? I still think that's harsh. Yes, they can be asked, but it certainly made it look like they couldn't be asked.
I tell you what, this the change though at half time. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall, Chaz, at half time. Now what Danny did, identified that we were getting ripped apart in the centre mid, brought on Shalabala, and then brought on took off Otabayo and brought on Sfanti. Absolute night and day. And you know, this is a weird thing, because I think that what Danny managed to do when he came in October was pick up a team that was on its ass mentally and grab them by the scruff of the neck and have them fighting and winning and chasing lost causes down and running after the ball and stuff like that. He managed to do that over the course of, 6-7 months, but he managed to do that in the course of 15 minutes
Absolutely.
of half time, didn't he? That's impressive, isn't it?
And who comes back from 3-0 down? Let's be honest, like, the best we could have hoped for was to get 1, maybe 2 consolation goals.
Yeah.
And it really, I think more than anything, would have been grateful to just not concede any more goals. You know what I mean? Like, just be like, Borough would have sat back a bit, maybe, 3-goal advantage. And if we just didn't play stupid. So the fact that it was very obvious that the message actually was, no, you're going to go out there and sort this out. And it was so immediate. I mean, Ingleson was just absolutely on fire. Like, he started so well, then had a huge dip in form. And now he is sensational. The last few games he's been on, like, he was absolutely on fire on Boxing Day. And the speed in which we got that first goal, it was like, it was like the miracle of Hillsborough getting that early, like the early first goal. You're like, oh, okay, perfect start. And it suddenly it was, that little bit, I don't know what the word is, not uncomfortable for them, but just, can you imagine if they'd have scored within like 5 minutes, if suddenly it was 4-0 days, that kind of thing, like, it would have just deflated them. There was just that little puncture, and it was such a beautiful first goal as well. Like, the whole build up to it was liquid football. It was really nice, and it was so tactically good when we'd just been so tactically terrible. So it was like,
and it came through Gasman just getting on the afterburners, charging through everybody.
Had a Red Bull, bomb down. It was just so it was lovely. It was a lovely goal. It was a really nice goal, and we so needed it. It needed to happen immediately, and it was great, really good.
Absolutely. Now, Stevie, there was a few comments that came through. There was one there from Matt Strickland that spoke about lack of leadership, which is what you mentioned, wasn't there? There was also a bit of somebody mentioned about there it is, Matt Strickland there saying lack of leadership is shot at the back of the third. You're not the only one to say it, Stevie. And then what else have we got there? What else are the interwebs chatting about, fam? I'm so down with the kids.
True.
Stevie's turned into a mosaic. I didn't hear you then, Stevie. My apologies. But Sharman's gone with why we're so bobbins at starting games. Try again, Steve. No, you are literally on mute. I've just seen. So that's why.
Oh, sound. I'm on mute.
We were checking internet connections and all sorts there.
The guy that's been doing this for years, I'm literally going, oh, yeah, why are we so bobbing at starting games? But I can hear you. Why can't you hear me? It's Christmas and all of that shit. Matt, yeah, again, that where the lack of leadership showed in the back three for the third goal. Chef Cam, you can't concede 6 in a week and expect results.
I agree.
And fair point from Lewis Jordan. Have to say it. Plaudits to Sasha Lenzer. Mentality is definitely on the up, and
that's a great comment.
Very true. That is a great comment.
Dan mentioned it. Even at the 1-0 down, and we're going behind in games, it's not ideal, but you never feel like you're out of the game at the moment, do you?
True.
Might have felt like a 3-0 down on Saturday.
We're not good.
Going a goal down. I'd say a year, 18 months ago, it's game over, isn't it?
Oh,
you
1,000,000%.
conceded first. That was it. We were done. We were cooked. But we're in the games, and I still felt, and jumping forwards, Preston going a goal down. It didn't feel like we were out of the game at the time. However,
I retweeted my own tweet saying, from 2 weeks ago, saying, have we considered not going down 1-0 or conceding first or something like that? And Well, it bit me in the ass. It is 2020, Stevie. That's what you are, mate. 1-0 down. We're all losing
On
our
mute.
mind. That's what it
Sticking
is.
myself on mute.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Anyone?
Now, I'll come back to you, Stevie, for the third goal. But Terry, I'm gonna. This is a very definitive answer I need from you. What part of Josh Windas's body did he score with?
I often joke about, like, it's something I've said quite a lot in the
He needs
past
one
to
off his
mates
arse.
and stuff. Well, no, I've generally said before, I'm not bothered if we knob one in.
Knob
Brilliant.
one in.
Yeah. So
Yes.
you know, maybe he knobbed it in, and I finally got my wish. But you know, it's
Clip that.
well, you didn't care. You didn't care, did you?
Careful.
Yeah. I've got.
Finally,
around
we
there.
knobbed one in. My
But
dream
to
came
be honest,
true.
it was literally one of those points where you didn't care how we scored. You genuinely didn't care how we scored. Just get another one in, because you just knew it. Like, well, after the first one went in, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe we've got a chance. Maybe we'll score another. At least we've put, there's we're a bit of a dog in the fight sort of thing. We've made a game of it. But then because you score again, it's like, oh, really? Can we? And with the manner in which it came as well, you just think, oh,
Maybe this
can we
is
score
happening.
Can we score a good one now as well?
Well, it's interesting you said that, Terry, because in this, like I said, in the 16-minute period in the first half, 4 events happened. We've just spoke about 2 of them. And during the first 2 of these events, I was still under the stadium with the mug on, drinking pints with Ash and Stevie. Did you manage to see the second goal, Stevie? Did you go up before we did? We had the mug on. We went, nah, bollocks, this is going to get drunk now. I'm on the banter bus on the way to Borough. Come on. Did it.
We ended up chatting to Tango, didn't we? And
that's right.
You bought the beer, and I've not knocked it back. And then we hear the chant, the shout as the goal's gone in, and I've got Molly with me, and we've literally gone, right. Molly's going, Dad,
Father,
come on. So I've gone, Dad, see you later. I've run up. I've gone powering up. I've got onto the stand just as they were putting the ball back on the centre circle and kicking off. And I've had to ask one of the lads on the row who scored, Ingleson. Right, brilliant. Gone back up, got ourselves settled. It felt like within 30 seconds, we were down the other end and scoring again. I know it was probably a little bit more than that, but there was no time for us to get settled because we were right up in the gods. We'd seen miss the first goal, but we were just getting settled for the second.
Chaz, when I tell you that every single goal was right in front of us, I should have been, but I was.
Oh, would have been in front of your empty seat. Yeah.
Well, we had a good chat with Tango, and we'll get into that later on, actually. But then there was just also a send it off, and that's the point where me and Ash went, I suppose it's another cheer, right? And we went, oh yeah, I suppose you can watch some football. Like, yeah, I think it might be 3-2. It could be 3-3. Let's walk up. So you do that dribble chin walk thing that you do when you've got your plastic sippy cup and it's all squeezed in your hand. And we went running up the stairs, and then as we got up there, I'll tell you what, Terry, I'll come to you on this goal. As we got up there, it was the corner, wasn't it? And it literally was happening as we were walking upstairs. So I'm a number of pints deep at this point. I've missed the sending off. Right, Stevie, was that just like innocuous bookings? Is that what that was?
Yeah. So the kid got booked in the first half to check in. I think it was Windass in the first half, wasn't it? Just he was running away. It was almost like the Bernard yellow card. He didn't miscontrol it, but in terms of distance away from the goal in the first half, the second one is hit it and run. And the kids checked him, whether he meant it or not. He's checked him. It was a yellow card, and he's second yellow sending off. But I maintain that with the momentum second half, I don't think we'd have.
Oh yeah.
We'd have drawn, if not won the game, with 11 players.
Yeah, to get 2 back before they had a sending off is kind of like. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Now, Terry, this corner ball, as they call it in the game. It was shit goalkeeping, wasn't it? The goalkeeper shut the bed on me. Like, he should have got that, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he should have. He should have done. He should have done. But you know what? You take anything, bit of luck, anything. And
a nobbin.
A nobbin, exactly. I mean, God, we were shit out of luck in the first half, so why not have a little bit in the second?
the scenes, and the limery. Now, again, that's what away days are for, though, isn't it?
It's true.
I
And
didn't
they
even ask
changed
anybody
their
directly there,
goalkeeper.
did I?
They changed their
keeper went off
goalkeeper as
injured,
well.
didn't he?
Yeah, and they replaced him with a goalkeeper whose name is Glover, which is arguably an amazing name for a goalkeeper. Like,
That
he
is
was
an
shit,
amazing name for
but
a
isn't that a
goalkeeper.
great name for a goalkeeper? I felt really happy when that happened.
There
But
was,
yeah, it was either just before or just after the red. I can't remember, but it was like, it felt like two. It sounds an awful thing to say, like a gift, but like having to bring your reserve keeper on is usually like not great, is it? Like, ideally, you would not have your second choice keeper on. So it felt like suddenly everything was just kind of aligning. And his name was Glover.
It looked like
Just
a
great.
rabbit in the
Oh, he
headlights
looked
as well coming on.
absolutely shit his pants.
Yeah,
Because
he were.
you so don't expect to ever get pulled into that situation, really, dear. Like, you hardly ever do you see a keeper need to get subbed. And he was just like, like he'd probably had like 84 roast potatoes a day before because he didn't think he'd be playing, and he was just like,
Literally the first thing he had to do when he came on. So he's come running on, and he's put the ball down. And I've been in those situations where you're like, oh God, the first thing you've got to do is kick the ball, throw the ball, deal with the situation. He's put the ball down. 30-odd thousand people are going to watch his first motion, and he's gone to take this goal kick, and he's absolutely shanked it. It just went, and from that moment, you're like, right,
this could be all right.
yeah. The Wednesdayites got after him, and from my point of view, that was it then.
Done him.
Yeah.
So now it's 3-3. We've had some scenes on toast. It's all kicked off, and there was one last bit. Stevie, I'll come to you. There was one last bit. The gas man, who has now decided he's going to start, passing, but not until he's beat 3 men, which has happened a couple of times in this game, and it happens in the Preston game as well. If he'd have put that away, Stevie,
yeah,
I'd still be in Borough. I'd be in a ditch.
I've been one of his biggest critics, him and Masaba, in the first half of the season. I've been a bloke who's got after the pair of them. You will get no shade or slight from me when it comes to Gassama at the minute. I think the last 3-4 games he's been absolutely outstanding. I do, and I think they're for the last year or so it's been Masaba Gassama. I think now Gassama's just gone and he's kicked on. He looks strong, he looks fast, he looks hungry. I'm enjoying watching him play football, and I know it's literally happened in the last sort of 3-4 games. But he's gone from a guy who runs down blind alleys and is quite profligate with the ball. All of a sudden, he's a major threat, and he's somebody that I want to see on the pitch. And the break, the counter, he was so unlucky. And it just so happens that it ended up being Latilaf, their centre forward, who's managed to chase him down. But he's broken away from 2-3 lads to try and create a one-on-one situation. I don't think he could have done much more than he did. And it just so happens that one bloke's got a leg that's a little bit longer than his and managed to stick it out, and that was it. Put it out for a corner.
With me being quite the European, I know that there has to be a country out there, given the way that a lot of European languages pronounce the word milk, that his name's Milky Milk somewhere across Europe. I am absolutely convinced of it. Stevie, let's get through some comments.
Oh God, do we have to?
There's a lot of filth coming through.
Sorry, clearly my fault.
Josh
Podcast. Thanks, Matt. Former podcaster Blair, best nobbing of a ball since Sam Hutchinson nobbed it in against Arsenal. My goodness, Matt again. What has Windass got down his pants then?
No way the ball hits you there and you don't go down holding your groin area.
A shoe. He's got a shoe down there.
His growing area.
His growing area.
That's the key jock strap.
It's a Josh Wind strap. Either way, you know what I mean? It happens. In the meantime,
Holly, as someone who sits next to Terry on the cop, I can vouch for him requesting someone to knob it in the net quite a lot. God bless you.
If you do want to get involved in our tat shop, that'll be on there in about a week's time. Nobbing it in. In the meantime, some people are going to try and sell you some stuff. Okay, welcome back. That was some adverts, people trying to sell you things. So during this period, Terry, after we've come away, it felt like a win, right? It felt like a win. We're 3-0 down. We managed to dig deep, came back. I've now started to convince myself that, oh, you know what? Because I think I said last time you were on, I think I said that we're in a false position, imposter syndrome, something like that. We're not ninth. Like, what's the matter with you? We're not a ninth team. And then during this period, I've gone, what if we're all right? What if I'm just being a overzealous Sheffield Wednesday fan, thinking, you know what, we could actually go to this team and do some damage at Preston. You know what I mean? I've just realised Stevie prepped up all these stats and these pictures, and I've not used them. I've moved on. My apologies, Stevie. I've just realised. I'm so sorry. I was clock watching again. That's what's happening. But at this point, Takes, before we started to play Preston, I was sat there thinking, we might not be as shit, and going into Preston, we might be able to do some damage here.
Yeah, and I don't think there'd be many people that wouldn't have thought that as well. I mean, as much as we allowed Middlesbrough to play for that first half, they're not bad, are they? And
No.
so being in sixth place, I think you could argue that they deserve to be there. And then in that second half, the way we absolutely steamrolled them, and again, we mentioned earlier about them going down to 10 men. They were probably better with 10 men. I know that seems to happen quite a lot, doesn't it? But they're there for a reason. So if you come back in a game like that and beat that, I say beat them because it feels like we won. I wouldn't begrudge anybody thinking we were going to go to Preston. Not necessarily steamroll them. You don't have to go back a few weeks from when we played them at Hillsborough. They weren't terrible. They weren't great, but they weren't terrible.
And we're shagging. They're brilliant. We've just got 3 goals in 15 minutes against Borough.
Yeah, you'd expect them to be absolutely bouncing going into that. So, I'm not surprised at all. And, Liam, who messaged on here earlier, he was saying, imagine if we win this weekend. Imagine if we win at Preston and we're back within this, and then the transfer window opens, and start looking up.
It would have been a mega 3 points. I was already sat working out how much it would be to see if we could steal 5th. You know what I mean? I'm like, we've got.
I'm sure there'll be people booking hotel rooms in Wembley. I think if we'd have won.
If anybody asks, I've not got a spare room. Chaz Beans, let's get to the lineup. Now, this owl on the lineup graphic that we're looking at, for those who are listening, is holding a can of Red Bull and is looking a bit dishevelled. That's because Holly went out till 5 a.m. and got absolutely boshed up in Pop World, and I envisaged this is what she looked like on the day. You know what I mean? So that's what's happening. We've got Beadle Valentin, Valerie Iorfa. So bit more of a recognisable defence. Johnson Shabla earning a start, and then Charles Bannon, Windass Smith, and no Kabatsky on the bench at this point. So Jamal out, Smith in, and then there was another change. Otabeo out and Shabla coming in. So I was all right with that. I was like, that's all right. I want to see more of Nathaniel.
It gives us options. Shalabard definitely didn't start. He was great. He was part of the changes that made such a big difference for us on Boxing Day. I still worry about Iorfa. I was a bit worried about him sort of from bits that I'd seen at Borough. By the end of the game, I'm really worried about him. I was worried about him consistently all the way through. We're missing Deshaun, aren't we? And we know that. And we know that it's rough. You can't always come back and score 3 goals to get a point. Do you know what I mean? That was quite a one-off. And in general,
your luck will run out at some point.
Like the joke of, we go 1-0 down away. It's like, but ideally, you would keep some clean sheets. Even if we, sometimes it's like maybe even a 0-0. Maybe we didn't score a goal, but at least we didn't ship any either. It's like, so I think I'd rather not every game be some kind of 6-goal madness. And unfortunately, this one was. So, I think I almost would have maybe wondered whether Ingelsson might have been in there just because of what an impact he had.
And because of the size of him as well. He's right up Preston Street, isn't he? Look at him. He's a big slab of a man.
Though. He's fast. He's fast, and he's a real he's a battler.
It bodes well with me that speed impresses you, Charlie. I will write that down.
I don't know. But it's nice to have options on the bench. You've got one of the things that Rohl has always shown that he'll do is he can change things up when he needs to with broad strokes. So I think it's not bad to kind of have those options, because if things are terrible at halftime, you need to be able to go, that's not happening. Bam, bam, bam. We're changing this whole thing up. So yeah, I had no real massive complaints.
Charlie's going to be the cornerstone of our minute-long videos on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, isn't she, Stevie? You know what I mean? There's always a minute-long answer there that I'm like, oh shit, she's talking sense again. Coming on there, can't have no nowadays. These women are on here on our bloody podcast talking. Stevie, are you pissed off that their first goal was exactly the same as Liam Palmer's against Peterborough in the
Yes,
Yeah.
I am. Nobody in the world should be allowed to score another goal like that.
It was absolute carbon copy. The cross to the edge of the box was where Bannon was, and they got it nodded in from where Flint nodded it in, and Greenwood went, Palmer! And, you know, who needs Liam Palmer when we've got Greenwood?
The thing is, though, we were totally controlling the game.
Oh, so annoying.
I genuinely felt like we were controlling the game, and they scored that goal, and I kind of went, I was with my sister. I'm like, oh, I was still with yesterday. It was my sister. I was still. I've looked at her and I've gone, I'm not worried because we've actually been the better side. And if you looked at the stats at the time going into half time, they'd had one shot on goal. It was one shot on goal, one shot on target, obviously. And we dominated possession. And it even though it ended up being a 3-1, we still dominated all the metrics. They literally did a rope-a-dope job on us yesterday, and I think it feels worse than it actually was because
we conceded 3 against Preston. They just win games 1-0. That's all Preston do.
Yeah, they're draw merchants. They just get draws. Like what the hell?
Right, you can say that. You can say that, but the penalty changed the game.
Did absolutely.
Okay, I genuinely feel like the penalty changed the game.
But before the penalty, they
we'll get. Yeah, they did. You're absolutely right. They hit the crossbar, and it was a hell of a strike. And it was one of those things, right? Oh, momentarily we've switched off there, but even then, we were the better side. We outpassed them. We outmaneuvered them. First half, there was one team winning that game, and it was us. And it felt like we were going to dominate. And a goal against a run of play. And I know I'm probably opening myself up because I'm saying these things online and I'm saying these things that people are going to listen to. However, yeah, exactly. But it felt to me like we were the better side all the way through the first half. And even at half time at 1-0 down, we're going to go out second half and we are going to get a goal and we're going to come back. And isn't it funny how Sheffield Wednesday at the moment under Rohl and everything else keep coming back from situations where we're behind and it's backs against the wall. It just didn't transpire to be that way. And having said everything that I've just said, I think second half, once the second goal went in, we kind of fell off a cliff a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's do some comments before Terry gets to talk about a plus point in a goal.
J Blogs, it was like we forgot how dominant Preston are in the air.
That's been their game for like 10 years. How do we forget that?
Matt Strickland has said they had quality at the back, Jay, and we didn't. It's commenting obviously on the previous comment. And then Sharman, the performance was good against Preston. It was just sloppy finishing and defending, typical Wednesday, really. And I've seen another one that I just wanted to pick up. Here we go. Chef Cam. Man alive, we need a dominant centre half, one who loves defending and not faffing about.
They are, Terry, the people your age, they're going, yeah, that's right. None of this chippy-chopping bollocks. And I tell you what he's done as well, Tegs. Someone agreed with me and Stephen didn't put it on. This is like when Ash is in charge of the comments and someone agrees with Stephen, it never makes the light of day on air. But Lewis has said, I agree with Dan, genuinely started to believe that we could be that one team that sneaks into playoffs. I did. And we're going to come away with a 3-3 a game where we were woeful in the first half. And I thought, Ken back felt like a win. I'm thinking we could sneak in and given it. And like Lewis says, given how shite this league is this season, Preston happened. Talk to me about. Go on.
Can I just add this one? Hergel McMurgle. It's been a while since I've heard from Hergel McMurgle. BTEC Blackbird.
BTEC Blackbird. I have no notes. 10 out of 10 would bang. Terry, let's talk about Josh Windas's wonder strike.
Oh, it's a good team goal. Never mind it. Just finish. It's a good team goal. They did a bit of an attack and broke it down and attack quickly.
Hang on, Tegs. Last time you were on, you went into a mosaic and we could see you did that. Now you sound like that little robot from Buck Rogers that goes biddly biddly beep. Okay, Buck.
Yeah.
Try again. Just give me a second. Go on, give me a sound check. It's live television.
To be fair, you're sounding like one as well a little bit to me.
Oh no.
Biddly biddly beep. Just bear with me, Terry, and we'll come back to you. It was a good goal by Windass, and it's 1-1, and we're thinking, we're all right. But Chaz, it lasted 4 minutes. Look at that. Look at that. Steve has got an infographic ready.
Didn't dodge that one in, did I? Right off the shoe, like a professional. Yeah, it was a shame. It was one of those where I can only imagine it was kind of embarrassing because we'd probably just started really celebrating and really ramping up and like, right, 0-0 now. Yeah, all good. Yeah, all back to square one. Here we go. What a goal. Oh dear. Oh, whoops. Oh no. And I think my first instinct was it was a pen. And then I was like, what am I talking about? It's never a pen when it's against us. Of course, it's not a pen. It's definitely a ref error. And then I've looked at it since, and I think it probably is. That might be controversial. I don't know. I've seen them given. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a pen. Like, that's a pen. There we go. Yeah. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, why he did that. Oh, no. It's...
Now, this image has been doing the rounds on the Twitter rings. But that foul is a very long foul. He's still fouling him by the time he gets to the penalty spot, isn't he? Like, Stevie, you're the one that got this graphic ready. Do you disagree? Do you feel like it's where the original contact's made shouldn't have been a pen?
I don't know. If I'm honest,
neither do I. I'm glad I didn't have to make that call.
I'm gonna stick it back. If you look at that to me looks like a challenge and contact that's outside the area. But if you look at it in real time, it looks like a penalty because it's on the line. I don't think it's inside. I think it's on the line. But looking at the image that we've got that's on the screen at the moment, for those that are listening back, Iorfa is making his challenge, but it seems to be that he's making the challenge on the outside. But the problem with stills like that is it doesn't give a definitive answer because they're all so subjective. The Preston
falls
people
into it, doesn't he? Like it's like you say, it's like a long. It's not where it started; it's almost where it finished. That's going to make the ref see. Yeah,
I think.
Terry, are you back? Are you going to give us a?
I think I am.
You're back. He's back, ladies and gents. Go on, penalty or not, Tegs?
I think it's a decision. It's forced the ref into a decision. The bit like you can argue about whether it's in the box or not. But the disappointing thing for me is the decision to tackle like he did where he did. That picture that you just had on screen, there's Max Lowe behind him. There's no need to go diving into that. I mean, I played football at 0 high level, but even I wouldn't have gone flying in at that. It's just, honestly, like there were so many times during that game, there were two or three lads stood behind me, just so many times shouting at Iorfa, stay on your feet, don't foul, stay on your feet. And then that happened.
Terry's angry about it. Just clear it, get it bloody kicked out. I'm pigeonholing you, Terry. I'm sorry, mate.
Well, I know you are. It's fine. Carry on, mate. It's no problem. You're leaving Stevie and Charlie alone. It's fine. That's
why you're on tonight. That's why you're on.
Terry, I've got to take me pick. Mate, do I be misogynistic, racist, or do I be ageist? I've got, you know what I mean?
Woohoo! Award-winning podcast.
Cause woke.
I've got the bingo card tonight. Then, no, you know what I mean. It is though. It's basic. I mean, that's one of them things. It's just you just don't go flying in there. You don't need. There's no need for him to go flying in. Just
I love this comment. I love this comment. I would have made that tackle. It's really funny.
I would have made the tackle.
Do you know what? Good for you, Paul. That's a great comment.
I like Paul Fruge. He's a Italian looking man.
The one thing I would say about the whole situation is that yesterday Iorfa got a lot of pelters, and I'm not saying that he played particularly well. There were a lot of people at Preston yesterday that have been drinking a lot. And we talk about away day limbs, and we talk about that. Just as a very, very quick aside, it felt very forced yesterday from the people that were around me. There were a lot of very young people. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to say anything more than that were drinking a lot and spending a lot of time talking about, through their vapes and the beer that they've snuck in, talking about being their school football teams, and they're doing this, and this player's shit, and that player's this, and that player's the other. And they were getting after certain players. Iorfa got a lot of pelters yesterday. I don't think he played very well. I genuinely don't. I don't think he was much better against Middlesbrough. But what I will say, Nobody's mentioned Gassama doing the step over 10 seconds before I offered to lose possession on the edge of our area when we were in,
Well, this is it. So I think I wrote out. I think Gassman tries to dribble it out to the edge of his own area, gets caught out. Bowler gets brought down at the edge of the box by Orford. Greenwood dispatches it 2-1. Why is he dribbling it out of there? And it kind of left everybody going, "Are you winding me up?" And I tell you what, I'd have been the guy going, "Just get rid of it, like just hoof it. What's the matter with you?"
It goes back, I think, to that his decision making. Stevie, you mentioned it earlier about his decision making being better. That's where it wasn't.
Totally agree.
I was a little bit harsh on him when it happened. In that, I said exactly the same thing. Why is he running across his own box, across the face of his own goal with a ball? Like you just why? But
Terry, what did you shout? Terry, what did you shout? Come on now, I want to know verbatim what you shouted when he didn't hoof it.
Just knob it in.
I didn't want him.
Just knob it out.
I didn't want him to hoof it. It's not necessarily hoof it. It's just don't run across. I'm like, why is he running across his own area?
To be fair,
you know what I mean. But then what? To be fair, being maybe a little bit harsh in the sense that watching it back this morning. He's actually quite further out than I thought he was.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily run across the line of the area. However, the point still stands. You don't just, try and take 3 players on in that position. There's other players around him and he just made the wrong decision.
And I would wonder, just on that, if he's done that because of everything that we've just said. The last 2-3 games, he's really stepped up. He's done really well. Is this a guy that's just had a momentary lapse of overconfidence that has gone, right, I'm that level now, and I'm going to step out, and I'm going to be the person that does what
I do that with this show. A beautiful good move with the results in. Greenwood having a shot, which is absolutely fumbled by Beadle Charlie, who in turn passes it to Reeves, who fluffed his lines and spanners it off of Charles, and then has another pop and sticks it in. Shit goal.
Shit goal, and a real shame because at 2-1, it's 1-0, innit? It still had that feeling of, well, any point on the road's decent, and again, it's not me trying to slag Preston because I always hate when people say things like that. Oh, we were a better team. Well, they got beat 3-1, but in so much of the game we had been, and I really do think on paper we had the potential to do that, but it was really sloppy, poor goal, and I think. The whole game just screamed of poor defending because we actually had loads of chances and maybe you could have argued, well, if strikers had put a couple more away. Because like Windass, literally, he either scores brilliant goals or he misses absolute sitters. Like it's always one or the other. Like it's either he misses an open net or he scores almost an absolute beauty. Sometimes it's a Todger goal. But like broadly, it's like usually a really good goal.
Scored with a beauty.
Hello. And you've just got to stop those silly errors, and I think I felt for Beadle in a way because he's left totally defenseless, literally defenderless, and it's you can't be relying on your keeper to get down for one save and then there was nobody there to support that, and it was always just going to ping straight back in, and it was just incredibly. It's stupid goal. And that was it then. Like we never looked like we were going to get anything back. It wouldn't have mattered even if we did then because it was 3-1. So it felt like all of a sudden it was like 85 minutes and you're like, oh yeah, we're not even going to get a point now. And it was, just really, really poor. And not very
rubbish.
Not very festive.
Rubbish. Now, as it stands, we weren't in 9th at the end of that game. We finished the phase of games. I think a lot of people used to use the word
Christmas period.
Now.
Christmas period.
We've finished in 11th, and it's nice to see nothing changes with Bristol City sat in the middle of the league as well. Nature is healing. That's how it works. I feel like and Terry, is that still a false position for Sheffield Wednesday? How do you feel about that? Because I feel that we're 13th, 14th.
No, I mean, I noticed somebody in the comments said earlier that probably 9th about the best we can get out of the players that we've got, and I can see the point in that. I genuinely can see the point in that, because with those better defenders, shall we say, using the Preston game as a case in point, we don't lose that game. So and I'm not digging anybody out in particular. I just because I don't think they deserve that really, but with better players, with better decision making we are higher up the table. I'm not saying we're top of the league, but we're certainly closer to the top 6 with a little bit better decision making.
Yeah. All right. So what we were going to do was talk about what positions we needed. We've got January around the corner. We're coming in. We're going to talk about what positions we needed in tonight's Shield Your Ears Hot Topic. However, I feel I might change that. I might change it because Stevie put a graphic into the group chat earlier on, and into the media that we have set up on the side here to put it on. And I feel that this is something that needs to get spoken about. Stevie, I'm going to give you the floor for a couple of minutes, and I want you to talk about Danny Rohl's influence within Sheffield Wednesday and how the last calendar year has gone. Let's talk about that as today's hot topic.
The bloke's a genius, and thanks for putting me on the spot, by the way, because I didn't know this was coming. However,
I've got 4 minutes.
The guy's an absolute genius. I don't care what anyone says, and I know that he's getting some pelters at the moment for everything that's being said. But I've just flashed up here. It's done the rounds on socials. The league standings for every team that's been in the Championship in the calendar year of 2024. I think we sit 5th, don't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've picked up 67 points in a calendar year, and there are certain metrics within that where there's only Leeds that have been better than us in terms of wins, I think it is, and they're out on their own, and fair point, rightly so. If you look where we were in January, you look at the players that he had at his disposal, I find it very difficult to argue that he's done anything less than an excellent job. And I know that there are people that will talk about other managers and other coaches, and I know that there's been a lot of stuff that's gone on recently around him staying versus going. Is he going to go to the Premier League? Is he going to go to Germany and so forth? Let's be right. We're in this situation having these conversations and these arguments because of the 2024 that he's had. Now, Chansiri has put, and we can go back to the summer, there was a compensation package put out there where Chansiri has said, I want this much money. For if you go, you're going to sign this contract, I want this much money. And Rohl, my understanding is Rohl's gone, no, that's too much. And the delay in him signing the contract was that he wanted that compensation package figure to come down. It ended up coming down to a point where Rohl has gone, yeah, okay, I'll sign that. But I just think that the club at the minute is doing this and he's doing that. And that's causing a couple of issues. However, that's a tangent for, a conversation.
No, it's all right. I mean, Terry, Steve touched upon it there. We had a couple of articles today. Joe Cram we were looking at a geezer from Southampton. That for me smacks of Shea Charles going back. So can we have him instead? And Alex Miller put up that there's not been really any communication between DC and DR. Is he anything in that? Any legs? What do you reckon?
No, I mean the guy from Southampton is centre back. We all want us to sign a centre back. So is it Shea Charles going back, or are we just is he just dipping back into the pot that he knows well? And I mean, in terms of I'm not whether them conversations or not have happened. There's they're saying I know Danny said that he's not had a conversation with the chairman. Again, you've just got to think about how transfers are set up and how the structure is at Wednesday. While the chairman will always have the sign off, we know that. There's always the man at the top that signs the checks. However, we have a recruitment department that I have no doubt at all that Danny's had a conversation with, identified the type of players he wants, and they go off and do that work. They go off and do the player finding, if you will, or whatever, or having them in initial conversations, and then does it then wait until that's all done before the conversation happens with the chairman? It's a little bit, I won't say concerning, but I'd be surprised. It does surprise me a little bit that a conversation hasn't happened at all. However, as I said, it's almost a transfer has got loads of moving parts. It's not a simple case of just having manager speaking to chairman, boss, we'll go and get that player. It don't work that way. It goes through the recruitment and everything else first. So is it a bad thing? He's not great, but I don't think
it's not
the
great,
car
but
crash
it's
that a lot of people
yeah.
are making it out to be.
It might not be what we think it means as well, because when I initially sort of saw it, I was like, oh, like it's like Chansiri not like they're not talking, they're not having those conversations.
Yeah.
What I on second read, and it's more like they have yet to have those conversations, perhaps, and that's like, I mean, I've made my
But it is
opinions on
January, the day
Chansiri,
after
like,
tomorrow.
yeah, like exactly, like there's got to if you were to tell me that Chansiri's been an arsehole, I'd be like, oh, Kel surprise,
Oh my
that's strange.
God.
But at the same
Oh.
Rohl will have set out, not even like he will have set out before he even signed again in the summer. He will have set out his expectations for the whole year, not just for the summer transfer window, but for the whole year. I really believe that Rohl's the kind of guy that, like, he talks a lot about the project at Sheffield Wednesday and like the long term. He will have been like, I'm gonna need some promises to a certain extent, and I think we stumped up a bit of cash in the summer. Like, you know, we there is something there. I don't know. It's easy to just jump to the obvious, like, oh, he's skint and he's not going to back Roll. It's like, well, if he doesn't, he's an idiot and he's got a lot of form for being an idiot. But we don't yet know that's happened. Like, there's a little bit of me that's like, I'll panic at the time. I can't be asked to pre-panic. Like, it just
But
feels like
he's not skint though, Charlie, is he? He's not skint. And I think this is the problem. And I get a lot of, I have a lot of conflicting feelings when it comes to the chairman. And I'm not going to say them one way or another on here, because I don't think it'd be right and proper.
If only there was a platform in which to air our football opinions.
The thing I'd say, everybody's very quick to, I'm loath to use the term knee-jerk, but we go, right, this is what we need. Chansiri's an idiot because he's not going to give us this money. But Matt Strickland's thing is his comment that's just come up there. PSR prevents him spending. He's got the money. Yeah. If he goes out and spends, right, if he goes out and goes, right, we need a centre half at £4 million, and we're going to go and spend £4 million, I genuinely think he could do that. But what happens in 18 months to 2 years' time when we have to put the accounts out again, and then we go, right, oh God, we've got to account for this much money, the profit, the loss, the wages, the salary, and everything else. So now that Chansiri, for whatever reason, he finds himself in the situation that he is, and he's cutting his cloth accordingly, it's frustrating for everybody involved. It's frustrating for the fan base. It's frustrating for the players. It'll absolutely be frustrating for Danny Rohl. It's probably frustrating for Chansiri because he's losing money hand over fist. What do we owe him at the minute? Is it 162 million?
The accounts came out, and I think it was 148 as it stands right now. That's what we owe him.
We
So he's
owe
made
him.
about 20 mil back in about 6 years. So
it's mental. So why on earth he's losing money week in, week out? It's 220 odd grand over a certain period that he's losing
a month.
Yeah, you know. He's still putting the money in. He's still. We see it on as a headline figure. We see the food, the drinks, the state of the club, the state of the stadium, and everything else. It's awful. It's so frustrating to be a fan of this club when you look at that and you see certain other clubs doing it. I'll mention them across the way because they've got this takeover that's happened. We've got Birmingham in League One that have got the investors. We've got your Wrexhams. You've got Bournemouth that are flying. You've got Forest that have done it. Other teams have done it. And people go, right, it's the easiest thing in the world is to go, do you know what? People want to buy a football club, or, you know, why is he not putting us up for sale and this, that, and the other? I don't know the reasons. They don't know the reasons. He's not telling us the reasons. This is a guy who is still putting in money and losing money week in, week out.
Tax fiddle. It's got to be. Yeah. Tax. Oh shit! Hang on, quick. I better play it, Stevie. I better play it. I've literally just accused our chairman of buying Sheffield Wednesday for a tax fiddle.
The rumour mill.
That was a tentative 30 seconds. That was, I tell you what, that was 5p, 50p. You couldn't get a bus ticket for cheeks of my ass. Anyway, that was two bumhole jokes in the last 10 seconds. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was tonight. Hot topic. Now, I'm just going to get serious for you for just a second after we've got all the silliness out of the way. That was great, Stevie. Thank you very much. We'll follow up with some bits. Now, During, as we mentioned earlier on, there was a halftime period in which we got talking to Paul Gregory, otherwise known as Tango, and I'm gonna put the graphic up and read it verbatim for those who are listening now. Tango was talking to us about the Red Sky One in Every Corner Foundation. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's to put a defibrillator. Thank you. That wasn't even a gag. I genuinely fumbled my lines on that one. Put in a defib in the corner of each ground. So I'll read it to you. This is from the Red Sky Foundation website. It said the project is part of a collaboration between cardiac healthcare charity Red Sky Foundation and Lauren's Legacy, set up by popular Sheffield Wednesday superfan Paul Gregory, otherwise known as Tango, by Owls fans in memory of his beloved daughter Lauren, who tragically passed away after being unwell for quite some time. Lauren had travelled around the country with her dad to football games and was well known to the football community. Red Sky Foundation have placed over 800 defibs in communities, city centres, schools and workplaces in many parts of the UK as part of a long-term strategy to help reduce the number of deaths from sudden cardiac arrest. There's been a couple outside Sheffield Wednesday, hasn't there, recently? Each year, the charity raises funds to donate life-saving defibs to grassroots sports teams and has already begun to place public accessible units at the handful of stadiums, and the mission to ensure every supporter donating towards this project will help make their football club safer place to visit. Donations will be made towards the One in Every Corner campaign and is for all fans collective, and we'll see hundreds of automated external defibs, AED, at external storage cabinets installed around stadiums across the country. Once installed, the AEDs will be accessible 24 hours a day if required to millions of people visiting stadiums and the life-saving devices. This was something that he was very passionate about. Now, when we think of Tango and we see Tango, it's him being loud, shirt off, you know what I mean? And he's had a rough time of it the last couple of years, the poor geese, he really has. And I thought this was fantastic. And to hear him talk so passionately about something was genuinely quite humbling. And, I got to talk to a bloke who was a bloke. And this is something that mattered to him. So what we'll do, we'll share the link on our socials if you want to get involved. But I promised I'd talk about it, and I think it's a wonderful initiative as well, because we see a lot, don't we, of these people going down and the football gets stopped and things like that. And if we can speed this process up, I think it's something we can all get involved in. I did that without doing one joke. I spoke for 2 minutes there without doing one joke. I've impressed myself there. That's how much Tango touched me. You know what I mean?
It was really. I was just going to say, just off the back of that, it was really good to get to sort of listen to him talking at halftime on Borough. It wasn't Tango talking, was it? It was Paul. And people will see the images, and obviously he's not a Sheffield lad. And I've heard you hear him, and he's got that accent, but there was no brashness, there was no sort of vulgarity, and I'm not saying that he is. There was nothing about it. It was just a bloke talking about something that he's really, really passionate about, and it really touched me just listening to him, and it was great. And whatever it is that we need to do to get on board and support this, I think it's a fantastic initiative.
Absolutely. My apologies for steamrolling through it, because you know what I'm like. I'm a stickler for time. We're 8 minutes over. Terry, have you got anything to add? Chaz, any other business? We didn't really get to talk about Marvin Johnson, Terry. He's having a shitty time of it, isn't he?
Yes.
Somebody mentioned it. Yeah, somebody mentioned it. Somebody mentioned Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson, sweet child of mine. And Chaz, we've also had Bailey Cadamatri's dad kicking off with Lincoln fans. Big fan of that.
So funny. I love Twitter, mate. I love the drama.
I tell you what, there was this account that used to go through footballers' old tweets, and like the Wayne Rooney ones where he's telling Rio he's going to pick him up.
I want to run to you.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. And Danny Cadamartri is literally tweeting like it's 2012, and I am a huge fan of that.
I love it.
I absolutely love it. Okay, listen, thank you so much for joining us again. Thank you so much for you people out there. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. Ash always tells me to say that, and I always forget to do it. So you're welcome. And
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
And if I don't see you through a week, I'll see you through a window. Happy New Year and all that. Bye.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday Week. Bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday Week 1234 Live. Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there for podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday Week 24-25 season. Join us.
Put on your